Hi! In this presentation, we will understand how California Consumer Privacy Act applies to organizations and consumers. What is CCPA? CCPA gives consumers more control over the personal information that businesses collect about them, and the CCPA regulations provide guidance on how to implement the law. The new Privacy Act, CCPA, went into effect last January 1st, 2020 and affects thousands of companies worldwide. The California Consumer Privacy Act is designed to protect California residents by limiting how organizations handle, store, and use their personal information. It also allows these consumers to ask companies to delete their data and not to sell it. The CCPA applies to any businesses, including any for-profit entity that collects consumers' personal data, which does businesses in California. The CCPA applies to any businesses, including any for-profit entity that collects consumers' personal data, which does business in California, and satisfies at least one of the following three thresholds. Even if you are not in California but dealing with California residents, under this threshold, you are obliged to follow the CCPA law. Organizations are required to implement and maintain reasonable security procedures and practices in protecting data consumers. So these three thresholds major thresholds are company who has an annual gross revenues in excess of $21 million. Companies who buys, receives, or sell the personal information of 50,000 or more consumers or households. And lastly, the companies who earns more than half of its annual revenues from selling consumers' personal information. Businesses in non-compliance may face civil fines between $2,500 to $7,500. Californian residents have the right of action for data breaches. In case of failure is proven, there can be a damages between $100 to $750. Hi! Today, in this presentation, we will understand how California Consumer Privacy Act applies to organizations and consumers. What is CCPA? CCPA gives consumers more control over the personal information that businesses collect about them, and the CCPA regulations provide guidelines on how to implement the law. The California Consumer Privacy Act is designed to protect California residents by limiting how the California Consumer Privacy Act, or CCPA, is designed to protect California residents by limiting how organizations handle, store, and use their personal information. It also allows these consumers to ask companies to delete their data and not to sell. There are three thresholds that applies. There are three thresholds that applies in CCPA. Any businesses that has an annual gross revenues in excess of $25 million. Any businesses who's dealing with the personal information, who buys, sells, or receives 5,000 or more consumers or households. Then any organization who earns more than half of its annual revenue from selling consumer privacy information. Even if you are not in California but dealing with California residents, under these thresholds, you are obliged to follow the CCPA law. So what are consumers' major rights? As a business, we need to know the basic rights of consumers. If not careful, it will lead to penalties and violations. First rights is right to know. You may request that businesses disclose to you what personal information they have collected, used, shared, or sold about you, and why they are collected, used, shared, or sold that information. Next is right to delete. Consumer has the right to request that a business will delete personal information about the consumer and whatever information that the business has collected. Right to opt out gives consumers the ability to direct a business not to sell their personal information to a third party. Right to non-discrimination. Businesses cannot deny goods or services, charge you a different price, or provide a different level or quality of goods or services just because you exercise your right under the CCPA. So what are the essential steps in compliance to CCPA? First, you have to map your data and information flow. What personal data do you currently collected? There should be a transparency, legitimate purpose, and proportionality when you are collecting the data from the consumers. What are the methods for your data collections? And how do you store these data? Second is ensuring your personal data security. You have to make sure that whatever details or whatever PIIs that you have the rules and regulations or policies how to keep it safe, like updating your softwares, or your data servers are it's properly secured, and you have a privacy policy which you have to update it every yearly. Next thing is store records of consent. Make sure you maintain a record of consent for every and each California child that has given you permission to sell their data. Or in any case, minors under the age of 13, a record of consent from a parent or guardian. Next is update your website. Every website who deals with CCPA, there should always be a button or a link that says "Do not sell my info." So it support the rights of the consumers to opt out if they doesn't want their information to be gathered or their information to be shared to any different parties or third parties. Next is raising CCPA awareness. We can train our staffs in compliance with the CCPA, and also we can use social media to boost awareness regarding this privacy law. Businesses in non-compliance may face civil fines between $2,500 to $7,500. Californian residents have the right of action for data breaches. In case of failure is proven, there can be a damages between $100 to $750.